Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our monthly Angelscope for the sign of Scorpio for the month of March 2022. So before I begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone back to this series, and thank you for your patience while I was getting some things going. I'll just talk about that in a few minutes. And I just needed a break, I think, right after I had that stomach flu. And just sort of reassess. And then this is when I was able to open up. And so also, and of course, I hope I just welcomed everyone who's new to the Angel School community. Welcome if I didn't. But the few things I want to highlight. So number one is that I'm going to I had to change the name of the Angel School to Angelic Wisdom for my new LLC because school and academy and those things can't be used. So it was sad and bittersweet, but I finally arrived at something that feels really right for where I'm going and the work that I've been doing. Has just been bringing through that angelic wisdom. So there are going to be new designs and logo, and in a few weeks I'm going to be posting for polls about the final two choices I probably made, and just to get your feedback. Also, for this year, my first time promotional angel reading, I'm going to be offering that to everyone, whether you've had a reading with me before in the previous years or not. From the month of February on, this will be available to everyone. So be aware of that. If you're signing up for a reading with me for the first time this year, you can get that special offer reading. All right, and the last piece is just to highlight the cards here in the format. The card in the middle will be a message from the Archangel Oracle by Dinah Cooper. I'm not familiar with all of them, so I probably will be reading just some bits from it. As this is the 8th video I've done today straight, so I'm probably going to get a little loopy, so I'll need to rely on that outside of intuition information. And then the other two cards are from Radleigh Valentine's new deck as of the end of the year, last quarter of the year, the Guardian Angel Messages Tarot. It's a lot of words. So let's begin. And I'm just going to invite you to really close your eyes and focus in your heart center. And take a deep breath and release out. Now, what they're showing me, I recently have been able to go through these gateways that you've probably heard me talk about. And they're showing me a gateway, but they're showing me connections of gateways. And it made me realize that phrase from spiritual texts or the biblical texts, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. And what I feel about these gateways is that they are each the doorway to chambers of consciousness and dimensions and awareness. And this is something that is going to be opening up for you. What I saw right after that was a masculine male figure, standing, and his legs were like the gateway, but I felt like he was blocking that. And so, this is getting really interesting. So that the divine, that I feel like it's more representing masculinity and toxic masculinity, kind of our, and this goes for men and women. We all have this. We have these ideas of what things should be like, in terms of being strong and not letting anybody see you sweat or letting anybody see you cry or see you vulnerable, right? This is something that even women have had to adapt as they have kind of stepped out into the world and don't want to be perceived um, in any way as being weak or inferior to their male counterparts. So, um, we've all gotten caught up in this sort of toxic masculinity. And what I then saw as I went, ooh, this is getting interesting. That male, when he knelt down, all of a sudden he had on pumps, right? Very high heel pumps. And then he knelt down, and it was sort of like a surrender of the roles, the gender roles, and the ways that we identify. It's about embracing the whole of the self, the divine masculine and divine feminine, all right? Embracing the whole of the self. And there was more that I felt coming with that. Being authentic, really oneness is this expression of the whole, the integration of self. And so that you're going to be, they were showing me a cross before I started the video, and I feel like that there's been some burden of responsibility that your identity or some aspect of yourself has placed a great deal of pressure or burden. And it's, yes, it was taught to us, but when we accept things, when we believe it, then it's our responsibility. And so it creates for us dynamics that are unhealthy. But in this surrender, if this is the real, I think, goal focus, is that you're going to be surrendering to this. And in this surrender, the dimensions of consciousness are going to open up to you, these chambers, the mansions within the Father's house, which is really the ascended mind and ascended heart. You'll have access to these chambers, and you're going to find fulfillment and freedom in it in a way that you've never experienced before. All right, so let's take a look at the Archangel. And what we have here is a seraphim. The seraphim are 12th dimensional beings. So seraphim, Seraphina, it says, be an ambassador for Earth, build your bridge to Source. So you're going to be building your connection to Source, a stronger, and at that level, that frequency of the divine, there is no sense of gender or gender roles or identities. This is pure oneness, wholeness of both aspects of the divine masculine and feminine working together. And so you're going to be going through a journey through these chambers where you that will take you to a path of wholeness, Scorpio. And that's just going to be extremely powerful for you, because you are a water sign and you do feel things deeply and you do think deeply. You're incredibly philosophical. And so this is going to be like going home for you, right? This is going to be you're going to be in your zone. Gosh, there's just much here about her. She is an seraphim who surrounds the Godhead, okay? And she carries the divine feminine light. Diana Cooper writes here, she steps down her frequency through the planet Neptune. So, that's intense. And her color is translucent, and she vibrates with all the colors. So again, that rainbow. And, I find that image with we associate the rainbow with the LGBT community, but really that rainbow includes all of us, and our group community just bears that specific identification with our sexuality and the struggle with being who you are and the gender identity is really the struggle of all people, of all sexual orientations. And that flag really represents our own liberation from this. Because when we're all liberated from this, we are all able to now start operating from the frequency of oneness. And it's just not this, but it's so many things. But it's this that's at the core of that toxic masculinity, where and femininity as well. I mean, they're both toxic because they are identified through a limiting form, a limiting facet of who we are. It's just a facet, not all. It doesn't. It's not the entire essence of what all of our created aspects are meant to represent. And this is going to be the workshop that with the Mer people. So I'll get into that another time. I won't talk about that now, but I see now that this is going to be really important, why they wanted to do this workshop, which I hope to do this month. All right, and so she works also with Archangel Metatron and in the intergalactic schools of the universe, etc. So let's see what information with the Major Arcana lesson. So balance, perfect. It just totally makes sense, right? We got to come into balance, into alignment in order to find our truth. It's not really one extreme or the other, yet it does not mean that those extremes are invalid. The extremes aren't invalid. It's the whole that is valid, is truly valid. And we all have extremes. But when we focus at the center of our wholeness, does that mean to exclude? But it means when we focus from the center of our essence and our wholeness, all aspects, all extremes, and all midgrounds are harmonized and culminate into and point in the direction of our path and our purpose in this lifetime. So let's look at the card from the Minor Arcana. Oh, look at this. 2 of Water, Scorpio. So this is a card about finding, I feel like what this is going to do is you're going to find your soul groups. You're going to find your soul mates, meaning in your tribe, and your partner, your lover, that once you find this balance, it's like it's almost as if this toxic masculinity and femininity, just for lack of argument here, or to be simplistic in this example, that once we move past this, that we will always find the relationships that are meant for us, whether it's in a job situation or in a romantic situation or whatever situation that fits who you are, right? That fits your paradigm, that fits the experiences that you desire. So that's really going to be incredibly powerful, that you're going to be having connections of the heart, that you're going to first see this as an example of balanced relationships or things harmonizing, or where there's conflict, you're going to start to experience resolution or reconciliation. You're going to find your own commitment to something, that you won't be wavering any longer, and that you'll feel very committed to a purpose with total faith. All right, so as you go through this work, Scorpio, this is what is going to make you an ambassador for the earth, because when you go through this process of wholeness, you will carry the full essence of all the codes of life throughout, and you will be an ambassador wherever you go, because your light will activate this wholeness. So this is going to be incredibly powerful. Some of it you may not even ever understand or see, but the effects is what you're going to have to pay attention to for you and for others. So I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful month of March. God bless you.